Hi, this is Jeannie from Trendy Tree, and today I'm going to show you how to make a face mask using cloth strings from start to finish. Now, I have several face mask tutorials out there, and I made one the other day that showed you how to make the face mask, but I showed how to make the string separately. I thought I was saving time by having two separate videos, but it was confusing to some people. So today I'm going to use a camo fabric, and I'll go ahead and make my cuts, and then I'll show you how I'm going to make the face mask with strings from start to finish. Now the first thing we're going to do for our face mask is make our ties. The fabric is 1 inch by 16. So I'm going to take the tie, turn it over to the wrong side, and I'm going to fold down about 1/4 inch from the edge toward the center. I'm going to do that on each side. Now, I'm going to press this because it's a lot easier to work with if you press it first. We're going to just 1/4 inch on the bottom and on the top side, and then press it together. And then that way we can stitch it. When we get it pressed, we're going to come back and fold it again and stitch it. But let me go press this first. Take your strip and put it right side down. And the first thing we're going to do is fold it over halfway. Just fold it in half. And we're going to press that first. Y'all, if you hear anything strange, I'm in my closet and browser has just joined me. So press that. Now, we're going to take the top edge and fold it about 1/4 inch till it's almost to that center crease, and press that. It takes a little extra time to do the pressing, but it really helps once you start stitching. Okay. Now, you're going to take your 1/4 inch and press up from the bottom. Okay. Now, you're going to take it and fold it together. You've got your fold from the top and your fold from the bottom. Now you're going to fold them together so you don't have any raw edges showing. And press that. So that's what your tie before you stitch it looks like. It's about 1/4 inch, a little more than 1/4 inch, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. I mean, you know, your folds and presses are not going to be perfectly straight, but that will help. Okay, I'll do the other two ties, and then we'll get back to the mask. Okay, now we're going to take our pressed tie and stitch it along the edge. I'm going to make sure that I have it folded together, so I should not have any raw edges showing except on the very ends. And I'm going to stitch along this edge and then both edges with just a straight stitch. Now you can use a zigzag too if you'd rather do that. But I'm going to put it in the machine and start it and go right down that edge. When I get to the end, I'm going to stop and turn, stitch across that raw edge. I'm just going to backspace a few times to make sure I catch it good, and then I'm going to turn and come down the opposite edge. Okay. Now I'm not going to worry about that little bit of raveling at the ends of my ties. It's not going to matter. Okay. Now I'm going to go back. If you want to, you can trim off close to your stitching there. Okay. And now I'm going to go do my other ties. Okay, now we're going to take our 10 by 6 inch piece and we're going to put the right sides together. And we're going to stitch about 1/4 inch from the edge. And I'm going to start on the long side about halfway down. And before I get to the corner, I'm just going to turn that back, take one of my ties, the end of my tie, position it in the corner. Make sure I keep that tail out of the way. And I'm going to stitch all the way down to the corner. And we'll turn, and I'm going to come down the short side. And I'm going to look, make sure that my tie's out of the way. Before I get to the corner, to the end, I'm going to take another tie, put it in the corner. Doesn't matter which side you're using on your tie. And come on down and stitch all the way down. Turn, and I'm going to start back on the long side again. Make sure that tie's out of the way. You can see my fabric is not perfectly even there, but that's okay. Okay, take my third tie, put it in the corner. Make sure the tail is out of the way. Stitch down to the corner. Turn. I'm going to come down the short side. And when I get to the last corner, take the last tie. And now I'm going to kind of poke that tie up there. You want to get those ties kind of out of the way and stitch on down to the corner. Turn. Now I'm almost back where I started. Now we have to leave a little opening where we can turn the face mask. Right here's where I started, so I'm going to stop about 1.5 inches away from that. And I'm going to tuck my finger under there and make sure that that last tie is out of the way. There's my other 3 ties. And stitch. Leave an opening of about 1.5 inches. Okay, and now we can turn our face mask. Okay, so now our ties are all stitched in good. You can kind of give a little tug on them, make sure they're holding good. And we're going to reinforce that stitching. Now we have our little opening that we're going to need to close, but we don't have to do it right now because we're going to double stitch around the edge of the mask to just reinforce it. Oh, I know what I meant to do. I meant to put the wrong side together. I meant to, you could stitch this instead of having both right sides together. Let me see if I've got another piece. Instead of having the right sides together, if you wanted to, you could do a right and a wrong side together. Like that. And that way, when you stitch it together and turn, you'll have a right side of a mask and a wrong side. So you could do that. Now, if you want to, you can make a little casing right here along the top of the mask and to insert a wire, chenille stem, anything that you could shape to make it fit over the bridge of the nose. But on today's, we're not going to do that. The next thing we need to do is make our pleats. And I'm just saying that the opening is the bottom of the mask, so I'm going to turn it upside down here. And I'm going to make 2 tucks. I'm just going to make a fold. And I'm going to use a pin. Someone said the other day, well, don't pin holes, make it where a virus can come through. This is not going to protect you from a virus, y'all. This is just a stopgap measure. It may help protect other people when you cough or sneeze, so it is not a proper personal protective device. So wash it before you wear it, and wash it as soon as you take it off. But we're just going to do 2 tucks. We have been asked to save the N95 mask for our healthcare workers and people on the front lines. So this is just something that will maybe help protect a little bit of moisture when you sneeze or cough. And just please don't get the false sense of security that's going to protect you from a virus. It won't. And also, when you put a face mask on, you need to put it on and leave it alone. Don't be touching it. Don't be touching your face. So just put it on and leave it on. Okay, so now we're going to stitch about 1/4 inch away from the edge. I'm going to turn, come down that top edge. This will reinforce your stitching on your ties too. Okay, so now we're going to turn and come across the bottom edge, and this is where we're going to close our little opening. So we're going to make sure that our edges are tucked to the inside, and that we catch that good right there. Now I'm going to stitch twice around the face mask. Really, I'm going to go around it 4 times, but I'm going to come down to the quarter of the quarter area and come right down that stitching again. That's just going to reinforce your tucks and reinforce your ties. Okay, now once I've gone around it twice at the 1/4 inch area, I'm going to come on over a little closer to the edge and do another round of stitching right down the edge, or right close to the edge. Again, that's going to reinforce your strings again. Okay, just clip your strings and that's it. Now, if you wanted to know if this was the front and this was the back, you know, this particular cloth, you can't do that. If you wanted to stitch a little piece of ribbon or something to let you know, if it's important to you to know that this was the side that's facing your face, you could do that. Of course, if you wanted to, like I say, if you wanted to make a little nose piece, you can do that. This is just a very simple mask, and we're not going to do any of that on this one. Now, people have asked me about putting in filters, or leaving a place to put, you know, a piece of a filter and all that. I have not done that. I'm not saying that, you know, you can't do that. Certainly you can. And there's lots of different face masks out there, different face mask patterns. I am making this one based on the CDC guidelines, and they show using elastic, but elastic is in short supply, so that's why I wanted to show you the ties. Okay, you do want to make sure that you have your pleats all going in the same direction. You don't want to have, you know, sew them down this, you don't want to have them folded down this way on one end and opposite on the other. So you do want those in the same direction. The CDC didn't even mention the pleats in theirs. They just left it flat, but I think that, you know, makes it fit a little better around your nose and mouth. Okay? Thanks for watching. I hope you visit us at Trendy Tree. Trendy Tree is my daughter Carrie and son-in-law David's website, and they sell all sorts of ribbon, wreath making supplies, seasonal decorations, and flowers. We do have some patriotic fabric coming in. I hope it'll be here soon that we can use for face masks. This, I think, came from Walmart. So until then, y'all stay safe, wash your hands, and stay 6 feet apart. Bye.